My name is Francesca Lewis, and I'm a program associate with the Shared Use Mobility Center. Today, we're talking with Chandra Ravada with the Region 8 Regional Transit Authority in Northeast Iowa, and Emma Simmons from the Iowa Department of Transportation. And they're here to share about updates on a project aimed at modernizing demand response transportation services in Delaware, Dubuque, and Jackson counties in Iowa. And this project was originally developed and implemented with funding and technical assistance provided by the Federal Transit Administration's Accelerating Innovative Mobility Program, or the AIM program. And the AIM grant supported the Regional Transit Authority to test this technology as a demonstration project. And the Regional Transit Authority has been able to sustain these technology-enabled solutions to support service delivery and enhance rider experience past its pilot phase. Emma and Chandra are here today to talk about the project and how things have evolved since the demonstration period. So thank you both so much for being here with us today. To begin, can you both introduce yourselves and your organization?
I'm Chandra Ravada. I work with Regional Transit Authority 8 in Dubuque, Iowa. We serve Dubuque, Delaware, and Jackson counties in Iowa. We are a rural transit system. We are a demand response. We are door-to-door service for our area. And we are in service for almost like 25 years, 25 to 30 years. And this is one mode of transportation. This is very important for seniors and disabled population, but RTA accommodates all types of rides in our community and all type of users with for what the client will need. So.
And I'm Emma Simmons with the Iowa Department of Transportation. I'm a transit planner, and I work in the transit office where we provide assistance, funding to all the 35 transit agencies across the state of Iowa.
Awesome, thanks. And can you give an overview of this AIM project and what it was like?
Yeah, so the AIM project is developed to address duplicacies of the system and also coordination of the system with multiple contracts and multiple vendors, and also have in access to our client to our contracts to upload their trips and rides so that we can group them together with other agencies and then have efficiency within the system. So that's the overall concept. And when the concept has evolved, it had multiple things. One, how can we come up with a central platform which can help us with scheduling these rides, as well as making sure that the clientele will have the utmost information about who the clients are on our vehicles, and also make sure that we are running an efficient route to cities like Iowa City where there's medical needs, so that we are not running 3 vehicles in a day for 3 members going to Iowa City. How about we run 1 vehicle? If we know that information up front, we can collect that information. However, we also want to see if the agency can find out that so-and-so is going at so-and-so time to Iowa City, can we call the hospital there and reschedule our appointment so that we can get onto that vehicle? Doing this way, it is cost effective for the agency as well as for the clientele, so that we are not wasting their money or we are not wasting our resources. So overall, that's the idea. So we had 3 sets of people participating. One is the user, that is our clients, as well as our human service agencies and contracts. 2 is operators, that is us. And 3 is the end providers, that is the hospitals and chiropractor agencies and so on and so forth. So the idea is the hospitals can look at the schedule and say, hey, so-and-so time RTA is coming here, so we can schedule an appointment for so-and-so client and so on. However, the hospitals locally can do that, but when you go to bigger hospitals, they don't have time for this because they are dealing with multiple agencies and multiple clientele. So that is one hurdle we walked into. Our clients are able to access, like our contract agencies are able to access the portal and upload their rides and all that. That helped there. Then we also walked into HIPAA rules, because we are not a fixed route where people can get at a bus stop and get down at another bus stop. So sometimes when you're using a vehicle, sometimes you might have one client on the vehicle, and when we deliver them to a location, you're giving them their physical address. So if you're displaying that on your dashboard or something to general public where the vehicles are, then literally you're giving someone's address, So that's where our human service agencies got a little bit uneasy, saying that, hey, this might be a violation of HIPAA. So we avoided that, and we made sure that the client will get a text message up front when the vehicle is coming in 10 minutes. And also the previous day, they'll get a notification through a phone or a text message or something, so that takes care of information deliverable to the clientele, but not visual on a dashboard or something. Then we have no software will be perfect. When you walk into it, it's not like saying, yep, click the button and everything falls in place. So there's a lot of modifications we did with HPSS and QRide to accommodate our needs. The only thing what HPSS got surprised is when they walked into the project, they're surprised that a agency like us have multiple contracts, multiple users, and each contract has its own specifications, and each county has its own requirements. So you're multiplying, like we have 15 contracts, multiply by 3 times. And then within those contracts, we have different categories like seniors and, disabled and so on. So they are a little bit surprised, because most of the time the softwares are designed for fixed routes. And when you're on a fixed route, you don't have this distinction. It's like route A, route B, route C, and everything falls in place. When it's demand response, you have these kind of variables, and then you fall into place. So on and so forth. So that is like a 20,000 feet explanation of the project and the process we went through implementing the project. So
Awesome. Thank you for that. That was, yeah, very comprehensive introduction. And you got into this a little bit, but can you speak a bit more about how the project really came together and what sort of initial challenges you were looking to address and looking to solve with these specific technology solutions?
so our plan is to use the software, as I said, to minimize the wastage of the system, like having multiple vehicles going to the same location. How can we avoid that? How can we have multiple points accommodated in one vehicle, so that we are running one driver and one way bus for multiple points rather than having 3 buses going to 3 locations. That helped us a lot, because yes, the data coming in is able to help us to create routes in such a way that we can have multiple clientele on the same bus. So because that also helped us to address the issue with the drivers, lack of drivers, because we are able to manage with the existing drivers as much as we can. Then that also helped us to look into our fleet and say, do we need all mini buses? So we started looking, saying maybe we might not need all minibuses. We might need vans, which are bigger in size, can accommodate 9 passengers rather than a minibus. So we started reducing. We are converting our fleet from minibuses to to vans. Like I think we converted 6 vehicles of our 32 fleet to vans, because that helped us to see what type of ridership is going at what time, and then what type of vehicles can suit that. Not only that, that also helped us with our drivers, because if it's a mini bus, you need to have CDL requirements. With the vans, you don't need CDL requirements. So that helped us to recruit drivers better, because CDL requirements are like, they need to go through a process and all that. Some drivers are not willing to do that. So those all helped the system very well. Did it help with the ridership? Uh, Technologically, it helped. However, software is not the only variable when you're looking at ridership. It'll be like your vehicles availability, your drivers, and it also the time of the day and all that. So the software is able to provide information, but obviously it is us who is deciding if you have vehicles and drivers and something like that. So mm, did the software had an impact on riders? Yes, they are getting information about the rides and all that. That helped. Did the ridership change? No, not much, because we are able to coordinate and reduce our operating costs, but increasing the ridership, not yet, because we just came out of COVID and all that. But on the other side, we are fighting to see where we can find more drivers. That's the biggest problem we are having right now, drivers, because it's hard to find drivers nowadays, and we are competing with the school systems and the local, and the rural urban systems and so on and so forth. So those are the problems we walked into with the software, with the project. With the software itself, obviously, there's a lot of mending that has been done with the software. We are not able to use the software as it is when we started the project, so there's a lot of changes within the software to accommodate our interests. We should say that QRide is very supportive. They are working with us. I think we still have weekly calls after 3 years, and they're still making changes. They did not leave us and say that, hey, these are all extra costs or anything. But on the other side, our point is maybe you should have understood the scope better when you're getting into the project, That's one recommendation I will make to anyone who is implementing this kind of project. Be as detailed as you can on the scope. Because most of the time when you're writing your scope, you keep it generic, then the vendor will think this is what it is. But then when you dive in, you need more details and so on and so forth. So those are the kind of logistics we walked into with the software. But other than that, we are at a place where we are comfortable where we are. Well, obviously we need there's one of the components of the project is automation, where we want the system to automatically schedule the rides. That's a bigger problem, because on a fixed route, it's easy because you have 10 routes and all 10 routes go to same origin and destination by time of day, and then those are fixed. So now it's easy to populate people on that. For us, it's a daily based change, because it's interesting, because when you have a population with needs, the system, a computer can say, okay, this location is close to the route, so this should be the first pick, second pick, and so on and so forth. However, there's some logistics there, because some clients have disabilities where they cannot sit on a vehicle for more than 30 minutes. Sometimes we have people who cannot sit next to another client, Sometimes we have people who don't like a specific driver, So those all cannot be accommodated in the software, and they change on a daily basis. So those are the kind of things we walked into. Flipping a switch and everything falling in place, I don't think that's realistic. It's not going to happen. Any software working for a door-to-door service, demand response, there'll be a lot of mending, and this is one of the things. Hope I answered the question in a roundabout way. So.
Yes, you did. Yeah, and I want to touch more on the partnerships that were a part of this, deploying this technology. So, like, what kinds of partnerships did the team develop to support this?
So our partners on the project are human service agencies who are major users of our system. We have Iowa DOT at the table, and then we also had people advocacy groups who are advocating for like seniors and disabled population. Then we have general public who wants to see if RTA can accommodate the interests of the kids going to different locations within the community and so on. So we have multiple users. So in our area, we have transportation action groups at each county level. Those are the groups who has the ground truth, because they're dealing with the clientele on a daily basis. So they are part of the project, and they helped us to create the scope of services and explain the needs within their communities.
Maybe Emma can jump in on this as well about this partnership that, helped facilitate RTA getting the grant, but also coordinating through that process.
Yep, so the Iowa DOT applied for the grant on behalf of RTA 8. And throughout the process of this grant, we've been on all the calls with the FTA and RTA 8, and then submitted reports to TRAMS, the reporting system. And we're just there to help in any way RTA 8 needed. So that's kind of our role, was kind of that pass-through agency almost, that link between the FTA and RTA 8.
Well, I know Emma is selling herself short, but when we got the idea, the DOT said, okay, this is a federal grant. Obviously, we cannot apply on our own. They willingly accepted it. They said they'll apply for us knowingly that they are the reporting agency and they are the people who will be drawing the funding. So that's extra work than what they're doing, but they willingly accepted it. So they can say no to us, which they did not. So
Great. Thank you. Yeah, that's very great to see how that partnership worked out. And how did these partnerships evolve throughout the program? And, did the coordination between Iowa DOT and RTA change in any ways past that development phase?
go on, Emma, you can start with it.
Well, I didn't start with this project, so my predecessor, Brent Paulson, was the DOT employee that was working on this to begin with. But I think I joined about halfway through the years, and I guess as the project went on, we started more just to the reporting side of things. So RTA 8 would submit a quarterly report, and then we would plug that into TRAMS. I also did come down to, or up to RTA 8 and met with HVSS Q-Ride when they came and did a presentation there.
Yep. So when Brent started with us, so we went through the procurement process to hire a third-party consultant. So when we are writing the procurement document and all that, we made sure that we are following the federal regulations and clauses. So once we had our draft, we sent it to Brent. He reviewed it and made sure that all the clauses are covered and all that. And that helped us to make sure. And there's some clauses he said we don't need because it's a software. It's not a, it's not a brick and mortar project or something like that. So there's always guidance from Iowa DOT, what to do and what not to do. And sometimes he also guided us to other examples saying so-and-so agency did this, take a look at their RFP, that'll help you to provide an idea. So there's a lot of guidance up front. And once the project is in, and then as Emma said, they're participating in all the meetings with us, and they are able to listen both sides from HPSS as well as FTA, what they're saying. So
Awesome, thank you. And you spoke a bit about, some of the challenges that RTA experienced throughout the course of the project. Can you share more about, how were you able to overcome, these challenges or adapt to them?
So these are, the challenges are nothing new. Like we are not the first one in the world having this kind of challenges. The challenges are more like any system will go through when they are changing from a software which they used for almost like 15 years to a new one. Obviously, there'll be comparison between the old software and the new software. There'll be some positives in the new software. There'll be some positives in the old software. Obviously, you'll be hearing from staff saying, hey, this is how good the previous one is with those changes, and this is how good the new one is. One thing I always say to my staff is two things. You're comparing an iPhone to an Android. Both are good phones. Both have their positives. Both have their negatives. We just choose one that works. And obviously, it might not have all the features what the previous one had. So that is one part of the equation. Second part is explaining to the vendor how our system works. It took a long time for the vendor to understand how we operate, explaining each and how the auditing happens, how the billing happens, and how the billing structure is designed, so on and so forth. So as I stated, we should be as clear as we can in the scope of services because the vendor did not anticipate this much detail when they started the project. That threw them off a little bit. The third part is obviously the time it takes, because one side you should be running the system, another side you are making changes to the software, and staff will be very frustrated because they need to address the dispatch on a daily basis, but on the other side, the software should be helping them, not creating hurdles. So the starting first 2 years is like painful. It's nothing new. Anyone with operation software will have this problem. But now we are settling down. So those are kind of issues we walked into. And then obviously when we are working on something, suddenly something stops working, because they're in development stage and all that. So those are the kind of issues we walked into, and then the vendor they're working with us and fixing all those problems. They did not drop the ball as of now, so knock on wood. So overall, we are okay with what we have right now, but we love to have more as we go.
So what is, in your plans for the future, what would be, that more moving forward?
So if everything can work out perfectly, we want the automated system to work, because the idea is when you have the automated system, we can reduce the dispatch hours, number of hours of dispatchers. That resources can be used somewhere else with facility maintenance and so on and so forth. When we design the plan, we want the system to be automated so that we are not answering the phone calls and all that. But it's not going to happen on day one. It will take years to, because the client should be acquainted, and they should understand how the system will work. So our goal is eventually the amount of calls coming into the system should reduce, because we are able to communicate through text messages and pre 24 hours before calls for your trips, and then 10-minute call before the vehicle is coming to your location. So the amount of calls coming into dispatch should reduce eventually, and the amount of time taken for dispatching should reduce, and the scheduling should reduce. That's our goal for the future.
And you shared some key takeaways from this, the whole grant process and project, but is there any other advice you would give to any other agencies considering, doing a similar software implementation? And Emma, you can also join in on this one.
Yes, as the DOT, I would say for the agencies to just ask the DOT to apply. I mean, I think that's a great thing. I think we have a good relationship here in Iowa with our agencies, that they feel comfortable to ask us, and we are very willing to work with them. Ultimately, we want what's best for the agencies and their system. So I think that is really important in our state, and I think in other states, if they can do that. Just have the agency build a good relationship with the state.
If you're going with a similar project, my suggestion will be threefold. First of all, write your scope of services as detailed as you can. Make sure your operations staff are pretty much involved in the project. Make sure the deliverables are tiered up, like saying to run the basic system, what is the first thing they should do? Then build on top of it. Don't just have everything done at one time, because then you'll have so much discrepancies where the system is not talking to each module, but another side you need to run your system, So what do you need minimum to run the dispatch? That's the first thing to be delivered. Then after that, what do you want to have on top of it? How do you want the billing to happen? How do you want the reconnaissance to happen? So build it as a tier in implementation process rather than flipping a switch and everything falling in place. And third, test the system thoroughly. My God, test it so much that, and it's not one staff, multiple staff should test it and ask the vendor to make changes. If the vendor says this is what it is, that's a problem, because no software can meet demand response process exactly how you're running. They need to make changes to the system. So our recommendation is make sure that the vendor understands during the interview process, the selection process, that we expect you to work with us in amending the system to meet our requirements. They should be willing to do that. And then last thing, which you cannot write in scope of service, is patience, from all teams. From our side, where the most of the frustration will be by staff, because they'll be having calls from clients saying that I did not get a message from you, I did not hear this, I did not hear that, and they should be polite addressing that. Another side, the software should be helping them. It will take some time. So those are the kind of things we need to look at, and educate your staff up front, saying we are going through this. It's not going to be an easy transition. So make sure that they are all ready to handle it. So that's my advice.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, both again, for sharing your story about this project and for talking with us today.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time.